Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Johnny2B, on fanfiction.net, or otherwise on Animation Source. I am here doing my very first audio comic, art drawn up by Villainsbadgirl and Sandstorm from Animation Source. As you know, I do not own The Lion King or any of the characters. They all belong to Walt Disney Studios. I'm merely borrowing them for the purposes of this story. I'm also borrowing some old characters from other authors such as Strike the Wolf, Brass's Septum, and the real Simba as such. Summary. The story of The Lion King has many things we know, but what if things were different in many ways, particularly my way? Here we go. The Lion King, My Version 1, Chapter 1, Introductions. Oh, by the way, you might hear music in the background that is also not owned by me. I'm merely borrowing the music to add effect and color to this audio comic that I am making now. Now we begin Chapter 1. It was another beautiful 83-degree day in the Pride Lands. If humans were around, they would definitely want to take a vacation here because of the warm weather and its gorgeous scenery. All the commotion was about the latest birthing of the new lion cubs for the Great Pride. Duma and his wife Paka just gave birth to twins Kula and Chumbi. Nee, who is a rogue lion, impregnated Sarabi's half-sister Tiza, leaving Mufasa as his adopted father Tojo, who would be born in 3 days' time, according to the eccentric and mysterious shaman Rafiki. This also to be the same day that Mufasa and Sarabi's son Simba is due to be born. A lioness named Camille was expecting the birth of their twin daughters Tam and Kiara, who in 2 weeks' time were also giving birth. All were excited except for Scar, Mufasa's younger brother, who was brooding somewhere in the back of a huge monolith that served as the Pride's home for many generations. Little did the Pride know that there would be again a new pregnant member later that evening that approaching from the southeast, and a new addition that would change the Pride's lives forever. Well, this is the place I heard about. The lone, pregnant, cream-colored lioness spoke out loud as she was walking. I hope this pride is kind, as I heard, and I hope they will let me join, she thought as she was getting closer to the giant stone monument. Halt! A blue, red-billed hornbill with white underbelly feathers approached the lone lioness. These are the lands of King Mufasa. What brings you here? To the bird squawked. My name is Seraphina, and my former pride was destroyed by fire, and my father was the former king of the pride, and I was to take his place as future queen. Unfortunately, all were lost, including my beloved husband, who is the last I saw before. Lioness couldn't compose herself, and that she broke down in tears in front of the hornbill. Come now. I'm sure the king will hear you out, as the majordomo spoke in a soft tone as he confronted the cream-colored lioness. So the two went to the base of Pride Walk, where King Mufasa and some other lionesses stepped out of the cave to see this new lion. Your Majesty, I bring you Princess Seraphina of the Sunfire Pride. As she interrupted, she never mentioned the name Tizazu, as the lioness bowed before the king. Princess Seraphina, what brings you to my pride? The king asked as he boomed loudly like Darth Vader. Your Majesty, I have recently lost my husband and my pride to a horrible fire and earthquake. I am with Cub, and I humbly ask to join your pride since I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to go. I am protesting, Mufasa. I protest. She may be a spy to take us over. Mufasa turned around to his brother and he saw his evil brother Scar. What do you mean, Scar? Well, look at her. She's different from the rest of us. How can we trust her? Scar protested. Your Majesty, Seraphina interrupted. Mufasa turned back to Seraphina. If I were a killer, then I would have killed you in your sleep and not seek asylum from you now, Seraphina callously said. Mufasa looked at Seraphina's apple green eyes and honesty in her heart. Seraphina, the king said. Yes, your Majesty. Seraphina quickly replied. See you with cub, the king asked. He called to his wife and approached. Pregnant Sarabi approached her husband and slowly asked, Who do we have here? My love, Sarabi, this is the former Princess Seraphina. She is with cub and seeking to join our pride, Mufasa said. A girl, your Majesty, is what I was told at my last checkup from my old shaman, Seraphina interrupted. Oh, Sarabi says. Seraphina, a moment, alone, with my maid, if you please, the Queen says softly. Of course, your Majesty, your Highness, as the cream-colored lioness walks in the secluded area, waiting for them to answer. Meanwhile, Scar and the other lionesses decide to leave, since the strange lioness is not a threat to the pride. Scar in the hand and leaves to the back of the cave, silent and protest sleep with his girlfriend Zira. After a few moments of private conversation, the king and queen went back to Seraphina and called her attention. Seraphina, the queen, and I have agreed that you may join our pride under 2 conditions, says the king. 1, since you say your cub is to be a female and your former royalty, and you must have her betrothed to my son and son-to-be. And 2, once you have fully recovered, you must contribute to this hunt with the other lioness. The pride is not a lazy one, and everyone has a part. Do not hunt for sport. We hunt only for what is needed. You see, this pride believes in respect and balance in the great circle of life. Mufasa spoke. What say you? Seraphina weakly said, Your Majesties! Mufasa, please, the king replied. I'm not one from formalities, the king interrupted. As well as I, the queen chimed in. Please call me Sarabi and my husband Mufasa, the queen said softly. Yes, of course, Sarabi. Mufasa, she said, and bowed. Continue. Mufasa spoke. I'm honored to have my daughter be betrothed to your son. I will do my best to support the pride to its fullest respect and all the creatures in the balance of the great circle of life, Seraphina spoke confidently to the king and queen. Welcome to our family and pride, the king said with a giant smile. The day of Simba, Tojo, and Nala's birth. This was a magnificent day for the queen, Seraphina, and Tiza, because today 3 cubs would be born. Scar was absolutely furious that his brother's son was born. Damn, that kid couldn't have been but stillborn. Now I'll be king. Now I'll never be king, he was scoffing to himself. Zira appeared from the main sleeping cave, asked Scar what he was talking about. It's my damn brother and his stupid cub, Scar scoffed. Zira spoke next. What will you do, my love? Nothing at the moment. I must convince a plan to rid of him. As Scar was talking and walking towards the dark elephant graveyard, Zira looks at the least says, You're not going to those stupid hyenas. Thick-headed as they may be, I may need them in the future. I don't know what, Scar says as he walks away from his girlfriend. Meanwhile, the 3 mothers and surrounding lionesses were cooing their new rivals. Mufasa and Duma were the only males they were only celebrating since Scar was missing and Nee was an unwelcome rogue. No one except Mufasa knows that the rogue was Toto's real father. That's my boy, Mufasa was laughing. Duma. Simba will make a fine king, Mufasa says. Mufasa, Duma said. Seraphina was cooling her baby daughter, Nala, as she was sleeping. Then Simba and Nala both opened their eyes at the same time. Rafiki, who happened to be there at the same time, as he was a shaman doctor, looks at the pair and says, Those 2 will make a great monarchs. I predict that little Tojo will become very important to those 2, the baboon slash mandroid hybrid said as he laughed maniacally. Simba was the first to walk around. The entire lionesses were cheering as he got up walking around the first time in his life. Walking around for the first time in his life, he walks over to little Nala and starts sniffing her and stares back and smiles to him. Seraphina and Sarabi look at each other with huge smiles. You know, I think we made a right choice betrothing them, Sarabi, says Sarabi. Cream-colored lioness says knowingly. I agree to that, Sarabi, says cheerfully. Amazingly, the two cubs started to stare at each other for the longest time until Seraphina decides that it's time for Nala's bath. Come on, Nala, it's time for your bath. And you two off to bed, Seraphina says to her daughter. Same for you, young man, you have a big day tomorrow, Sarabi says to Simba. Scar returned from his ridiculous trip to the gloomy elephant graveyard that he Mufasa sees his brother wandering to the cave and looks at his brother. Scar, I know you were in the graveyard doing who knows what last night, the king boomed. Why? Is it a crime to go for a walk? Scar says darkly. No, brother, it's just that you do this all the time, and I don't like it, Mufasa says, as he boomed. Why can't you just leave me alone, brother? Scar responds. Taka, Mufasa murmured before getting to finish the sentence, before Scar snarls and says, I told you to not call me that name, has no meaning for me anymore. Damn it, Scar! Why can't you be your old self again and a happy little Taka like you once were? Mufasa says while raising his voice. That name has no meaning to me anymore. Not after that water flow incident, and you know it. Father told me to take charge of that situation, and you disobeyed him. That's why you have that dreadful blemish. So what does that son of a bitch do to repay for my saving your ass? He makes it worse, Scar replies. Don't talk about Father like that. He was only trying to teach you a lesson for disobeying his instructions. Well, you didn't have to be his father's golem boy. Or maybe, just drop it, Scar. It's in the past. Mufasa angrily interrupts. Whatever, brother. Just don't screw things up, he says sarcastically. Brother, just remember that I am king and you'll never be, says Mufasa. Whatever. Also, don't forget tomorrow is Simba's presentation and I need you to be there as part of the royal family. Whatever. As Scar leaves his separate cave in the back. Simba's presentation. The next morning was just as stunning as always, as the animals of the Pride Lands were gathering into Pride Rock for Simba's presentation as for the future of the king of the Pride Lands. It was a nice 82 degrees in the morning, and supposed to top out at 85 that day. Rafiki gathered all the animals as he has done before when Mufasa was presented to the kingdom and time again. Zazu flies in. Good morning, my son, as Sarabi licks his clean boy. Today is a big day, son, as Mufasa walks to greet his son. And now,
from the day we arrive on the planet,
Simba smiles at his father and burrows himself back into his mother's arms and tries to get back to sleep. Zazu flies in. Rafiki comes and shakes the magical cane for Simba again.
than can ever be done. There's far too much to take.
Simba turns and smiles at the bamboo and highway. The monkey dusts the kid with ceremonial dirt and Simba then sneezes. Achoo! The hybrid monkey anoints the cub with ceremonial fruit juices and carries him away to the presentation. Mufasa and Sarabi smile the sun at the outside world the first time of his life, not sure what's going on while it's happening. Zazu flies and bows to the king, and Simba presents all the animals in the kingdom. Then the sun bursts through the clouds and signs the heavens, the animals that take their respected bow to the future king.
Through faith and love.
And took the celebration going, and the animals respected cheer and the elephant rare tasty feast that lasted for summer. Everyone was happy, and everybody was happy. All the animals throughout the kingdom, except for Scar, who lurks in the shadows of his bat cave. And that, my friends, is the circle of life. Again, well, that was the first chapter ever for me. I hope you all understood what I had to say. Thank you, Johnny to be signing out.